Hello students, today I am going to teach you about the DCL commands. DCL is the abbreviation of data control language. Data control language is used to control access to database by securing it, or you can say it is used to grant privileges on tables, views and other users and so on. We have two DCL commands. First one is grant. This command is used to grant privileges to other users. Next we have revoke command. This command is used to take back privileges granted to other users. Now we will discuss about the privileges. So privileges are of two types. The first one is system privileges and the second one is object privileges. System privileges are normally granted by a DBA, that means the database administrator, to the users, and the examples of system privileges are create table, create user, etc. Now the object privileges. Object privileges means the privileges on objects such as tables, views, procedures, synonyms, and these privileges are granted by the owner of the object. So we have various object privileges. So the first object privileges is alter. This alter object privilege is used. You can change the table definition with alter table statement. The next object is delete. It is used to remove the rows from the table with delete statement. The next is insert. It adds new rows to the table with insert statement. Next we have select object. It is used to query the table with select statement. The next object is update, and with this object you can change the data in the table with update statement. And the last object is index. This index object creates an index on table with create index statement. So far we have discussed about the privileges and the various object privileges. Now our main aim is to provide the security management in SQL. So the Oracle provides security features to the information which is stored in our tables from the unauthorized persons. So depending on the user status and its responsibility, appropriate rights on the Oracle users are assigned to the user by the database administrator, that is the DBA. Now the rights that allow the use of some or all of the Oracle resources on the server are called privileges. Now what do you mean by granting of privileges? Let me explain you this. So there are various objects that are created by the user and controlled by that particular user. If any of the user wishes to access any of the object which is belonging to some other user, then the owner of the object will have to give permissions for such access. This is called the granting of privileges. And suppose if we have a user, say the user X, and he has the object 1. The user X has created an object 1 and the user X became the owner of this object. Now the owner, that means the user X, is fully authorized to use the object, that is the object 1. Now if there are some other users, say the user Y or user Z, that means the various other users. Suppose if user Y wants to access the object 1 which belongs to user X and also the user Z, and at the same time user Z also wants to access this object 1, So if these users, means the user Y or user Z, if they have the permissions from the owner of the object 1, that means if they have the permissions from the user X, then granting of privileges is done with the help of grant command. Now, how can we write the grant command? The syntax for grant command is grant object privilege on object name to username with grant option. So what does the object privilege means? It means the access right or the privileges granted to the user, and some of the access rights of object privileges are all, execute and select. The next we have the object name. It is the name of database object like table, view, etc. The next is username. It is the name of user to whom an access right is being granted. And the last one is with grant option. It allows the users to grant access rights to other user. Let me explain you this grant command with the help of an example. If we write a command like grant select on employee to user 1. So this command grants a select permission on employee table to user 1. You should use with grant option carefully, because if you grant select privilege on employee table to user 1 using with grant option, then user 1 can grant select privileges on employee table to some other user also. Later, if you revoke the select privilege on employee from the user 1, still the user 2 will have select privilege on the employee table. So that is why you should use the grant option very carefully. We are also having some more examples on grant. For example, if you want to give all the privilege to user 1 on table accounts, so we need to write the command like grant all on accounts to user 1. In the same way, if we want to give some other user the permission to only view and modify the records of the table, then we can write the grant statement like grant select comma update on the table name to the particular user. So this is all about the grant command. So next we have revoke command. Privileges once given can be denied to a user using the revoke command, or you can say the revoke command removes the user access rights or privileges to database objects. Now, the object owner can revoke the privileges granted to another user. A user of an object who is not the owner but has been granted the grant privilege and has the power to revoke the privileges from the grantee. Now, the syntax for writing the revoke command is revoke privilege name on object name from username. Here, the privilege name is the access right or the privilege granted to the user, and some of these access rights are all, execute, select. Now, the object name, it is the name of a database object like table, view and some sequence. And the last one is the username, is the name of the user to whom an access right is being granted. For example, revoke select on employee from user 1. This command will revoke a select privilege on employee table from the user 1. When you revoke select privilege on a table from a user, the user will not be able to select data from that table anymore. However, if the user has received select privilege on that table from more than one user, he or she can select from the table until everyone who granted the permission revokes it. You cannot revoke privileges if they are not initially granted by you. So this is all about the revoke statement. Thank you.